Welcome back to Living Local. Everyone faces challenges in their life, and our next guest knows that all too well. Is the power of overcoming obstacles is important in your life. His new book, Near-Death Lessons, provides a powerful roadmap for personal success in the face of impossible odds. And joining us now via Zoom is Chris Jankulovski, author of Near-Death Lessons. Chris, how are you, sir?
Yeah, hello everyone. Doing very well, thank you.
Thank you. So let's get right down to it. So how does staying in a victim mentality stop you from living a deliberate life?
Look, in today's world where there's so much getting our attention, social media, fast-paced, shift your focus all the time, I think it's very important, more than ever before, that we need to be aware of our desires in our lives, because it's so easy when you run away from life's problems to form a victim mindset, because you run away from one life's problem, you end up running away from so many other things, and you get confused, you're full of doubt, you have so much uncertainty. So you got to move on from a victim mindset very fast.
Yeah, and so what are the three main steps needed to live a deliberate life exactly?
Our time is the biggest resource we have, and yet so many of us are wasting our time so easily. So I think getting clarity with our true desires right now in this time of our lives is the most important thing we could do. With clarity, we could have more deliberate intentions with our actions, with all that we do in terms of all year round, not just at the beginning of a year, for example, when there's a New Year's resolution. And also just to take small steps throughout the whole year, because you can't accomplish anything by doing it once.
Yeah, and you talk about personal boundaries, and how can you, stretch your own personal boundaries on your own personal journey?
Look, personal boundaries is something that happens to us because of just how our brains are wired. We so easily get so comfortable because our brain wants to be lazy. So most of us are just brain patterns. So anytime you find yourself thinking a certain way, behaving a certain way, or stopping yourself from doing something because you just think something, break your pattern right there. Shift your focus, challenge your own thinking, and evaluate why you're coming to the conclusion, because that's the only way you're going to break free from the status quo.
Yeah, and there's a chapter in your book titled Live Like It's Your Last Year Alive, which you have an experience with. So since we're at the start of a new year here, maybe you can share your process of living in that way.
Yeah, look, every year for the last 30 years, I've been living with uncertainty, and I've been living this way. And over time, I've discovered that it's more and more important to live every year, if it really is your last, strategically, because it's so easy to waste time, that I alluded to before. But also, what's interesting with this idea of living as if it's your last year alive is it brings forward decisions, it brings forward in your life what truly matters, and it allows you to do something about it. So the way I go about it is by first, I look for an image. I look for an image that it would put a smile to my face. And then I'll reevaluate, and I'll say, well, why is this so important? I mean, why does this make you feel this way? Why is it so important to me to maybe consider having clarity about this image or whatever it represents, and to do something about it? So that's one of the things I do. And then the second thing I do all the time is understanding my reasons why, if I was to have this in my life right now, become that person or achieve that goal or whatever it is, why would this matter to me so much? Because having the clarity, as I mentioned before, gives us power. So these are some of the steps I do. And when I take this action all the time, throughout the whole year, I find myself achieving goals time and time again. And I push it, and I achieve even bigger ones. And it's all by small steps.
Yeah, and you discussed the importance of finding your purpose, and the method that you can implement. The first part of the method is to start with, the end in mind. And can you explain why that is so important?
I think many of us think we're going to live forever. We have this fear of our mortality, and it denies us the opportunity of being present and alive right now. And so the recognition of embracing that as part of life and living is death. They go hand in hand. And the more we get on with life past death, and we just embrace living, it allows us to understand, well, what kind of life do we want to live? And doing something about it right now, because if we want to make a transformation in this life, well, you reckon we could do it in a decade? Sometimes it takes 2 decades or 3 to do